What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for watching another video. Today we're going to be working on my MK7 GTI. We're going to be replacing the diverter valve in the car. I have some suspicion that the OEM one is going bad. I've been noticing a lot of turbo surge recently, some random flutters coming from there, so I think it's just best to replace the part. The diverter valve in these cars are known to go bad. So the car has about 66,000 miles right now. I'm assuming that the car is on the OEM stock one from the factory. So I have this Pierberg unit that I purchased from FCP Euro. It's very affordable and it's a very good aftermarket one that FCP Euro sells. Plus they have a lifetime warranty, so if something ever happens to this one, you could always send it back to them and they will send you a new one for free, which is awesome. Their warranty is amazing, so check them out. I'll have a link to this in the description down below. But we're going to be replacing this today. I'm going to show you the steps how to replace the diverter valve in these cars, and this will be the same thing for your Golf, your GTI, your Golf R, A3, S3. It's going to be the same process for all of these cars, so let's get right into it. All right, so the diverter valve literally sits at the top of the turbo behind the engine, which is actually not in a bad spot. The only thing is that we do have to remove a couple of things. You're going to have to remove your intake, and you're going to have to remove the inlet pipe, because the inlet pipe is going to be blocking one of the bolts on the actual diverter valve to pull it out. So I'm just going to remove my intake hose here, and then, like I said, you're going to have to remove the inlet to be able to access the final bolt, which is going to be at the bottom. And then from there, you should be able to pull everything out normally. Now we're just going to remove the T30 from the inlet pipe so that we can pull that out of the way. Okay, it's loose. Just going to turn it back. Try to skip a step, but that didn't work. I'm going to have to take off the final clamp on the bottom, but that's okay. Should just wiggle off now. Okay, so now we're able to move the inlet pipe back, and it should pop out of place like so. Okay guys, so here is the diverter valve, the stock one, and you can see that there are 3 bolts. They're going to be 3 Allen head bolts. They are 5 millimeters. That's the size of them for this car. So you see that there's one right here, 2, and then the third one on the bottom, which is why you need to remove the inlet pipe, because it won't allow you to get that last bolt. So I'm going to be using just a regular screwdriver type tool with a 5 on it like that. So they shouldn't be too tight, to be honest. They should be on just nice and snug, because you don't need them to be crazy. So I'm going to work on the first one. That was pretty simple. There's one. I'm going to crack the second one. Number 2. And then I'm going to switch to a smaller one for the third one. There we go. All right guys, so now they're all loose. I'm just going to pull them out and be able to pull out the diverter valve now without any issues. Just be careful with the screws. You don't want to drop one. That would be very annoying. So I'm just going to continue to loosen this little by little and just work my way around until they're all out. All right, so here is the stock diverter valve. So the one thing that I did notice is that the O-ring was all destroyed. So I pulled that off and it was all mangled up. And this is an OEM unit. This, I don't know, it feels okay, but I'm suspecting that this was the culprit for the sluggish car, because the car did feel a lot slower than it did when I first purchased it. I'm assuming this was going bad. Again, it's a cheap enough part to be able to fix just to check it out. I'll save it as a backup just in case, but this is the old unit. It's very simple to pull off. So we're going to be putting in the new one and then taking it out for a drive just to see how the car performs and reacts to the new diverter valve. All right guys, so I have the new diverter valve right here that we're going to be putting in. Obviously you're going to want to put this in the exact same way that the OEM one was. So I'm going to start working in these screws. You want to be very careful, because again, you don't want to lose any of these screws. It's going to really ruin your day. You're going to have to go out buy new ones. You're going to have a leak. So I'm gonna like to work one in first, so the diverter valve goes in this orientation just like it did stock. Now, very careful with the O-ring because you don't want to smash it where it can develop a leak. So I just want to thread one into place so that, like so, not all the way, but just enough. I'll do the second one. The second one in place. And the trickiest one is going to be the last one because it's at the bottom. You want to be very careful with the last one. You don't want to drop it again. If you do, you're going to have leaks. You're not going to have a good time. You're going to have to get a new one. It's going to be a waste of a little bit of money and a waste of a little bit of time. Let me get that connector out of the way for now. And be very careful. I'm just going to work it around to the bottom and like so. Should go in without any difficulty. So I'm going to end up tightening all these up, guys, and then we will regroup. All right, guys, so I have the valve all snugged up, but I'm going to just do one more check. One, good. Two, good. And then with the long one, I'll just reach from the bottom just to make sure that that's nice and snug. You don't want to overdo them because you don't want to strip them out. You don't want to ruin them. Bottom is perfect. Okay, so guys, the new diverter valve is in place, all nice and tight. Don't forget your connector to plug it in because you will get a code if you don't plug that in. So perfect, good to go. Now what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to reassemble the inlet pipe with my intake and then take the car out for a drive. Again, so we're just going to be putting back the inlet pipe and the intake hose so that that is all nice and good to go. So I'm just tightening up my inlet pipe. So just to make sure that that is good. All right, so we're going to work on the silicone coupler again, which is always a nice little pain to get to because of how weird of an angle this thing is at. But okay, so we got that coupler on. We're going to get the second in place, ready to go. So we could put in the intake hose now. Don't forget to connect everything back up. We'll get the vacuum line that goes on the bottom of your intake. And we put the hose into place like so. Perfect, so everything is back in place, ready to go. All right, guys, so now you can see that everything is back into place. We have the new diverter valve, the Pierberg one, all back in. Everything is nice and tight. So now we're gonna take the car out on a drive and see how it feels compared to the one that was in the car. Hopefully that fixes the sluggish turbo flutter, turbo surging issue that I feel like I was having for the past couple weeks. All right, guys, so we're gonna take this out for a quick rip, see how it feels, the new diverter valve in the car. And I wanted to also touch on the reason why I got a stock diverter valve instead of going like something aftermarket is many tuners, especially who I'm tuned by, EQT, they recommend the stock unit is better than the aftermarket ones because these stock diverter valves, believe it or not, could hold up to 500 to 600 horsepower without an issue. So once this car is tuned and I have all my bolt-ons on and everything, I'm not going to need anything more. I don't want the sound, I just want the car to perform the best it can. So just so you guys are aware, which is why I bought the stock unit. But let's give the car a good rip right here. Okay, so first thing that I noticed, I'm like 80 to 90% sure that the diverter valve was the issue. One of the main things that I was feeling last time for the past couple of weeks was at full throttle, it feels like the car was super sluggish, especially merging onto the highway. And number two, there was a lot of surge and there was sometimes some flutter that I would get. Now, let me touch on that. Not flutter in high gear, low RPM. No, not that kind of turbo flutter. Like I'd be in like second, third gear at like 3,000 to 4,000 RPM, put my foot down and the car would just kind of sound like it was blowing off, if that makes sense. So like I said, the gasket that I found, the little O-ring that goes with the diverter valve, was all kind of chewed up. So I have a feeling that was the problem, because now it is, yeah guys, honestly, I'm almost positive that was the problem, because the car right now feels much more responsive. It feels quicker, it feels much better, and it's not like, it feels like it's building a boost forever. So I think we have a A+, good job. I think that was the problem. Yeah, guys, honestly, like I said, I think that was my issue. Car feels much stronger, much smoother. I think the diverter valve that was in the car just went bad. So, like I said, I'll leave a link in the description to the Pierberg unit that I bought. It's very, very affordable, and FCP Euro has a lifetime warranty. So if it ever starts to act up, if I ever get a code for it, if I ever suspect that it's going bad, I can always return it to them and use their lifetime warranty to get a brand new one sent to me. So that is one of the perks to that, which is why I didn't buy the full OEM unit, because there is like $150 to $160 like price difference, if I'm not mistaken. So it is a significant price difference for two things that are going to have a lifetime warranty on it. So I'm super happy. The car feels so much better, guys. It's 100% worth it. If you have any kind of boost issues, leaks, surging, weird flutters, really sluggish performance, look into your diverter valve, because it is a very high possibility that that is your issue. All right, so now I'm about 100% sure that the issue was the diverter valve. I just took the car on another like 15 to 20 minute drive after you saw the last clip of me driving the car to make sure that everything was good and that felt good, and the car feels the best that it ever has, even since when I bought it. So I am suspecting that when I bought the car, the diverter valve was already on its way out, because the car's never pulled that strong, the car's never felt this smooth, and I really do think that the diverter valve was just on its way out, and it was just giving me problems the more I drove the car. So again, I did get the Pierberg unit from FCP Euro. It has a lifetime warranty. The unit itself cost me, I think it was like no more than like $60. So it is very affordable. If you're experiencing any of the symptoms that I mentioned in today's video, I would definitely recommend you changing out your diverter valve, or at least taking it off and checking it to make sure that the O-ring gasket is in place, to make sure that the spring and the piston itself are all good to go before maybe purchasing it, because that definitely could be a culprit if you're experiencing some kind of weird turbo and power issues. But anyways, guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video, and hopefully this helped you out in replacing your diverter valve. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It lets YouTube know that I'm doing a good job, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good day.